In our party, there are two candidates amidst in a hard-fought battle, which have different approaches to try to tackle the same thing. I think they both genuinely want more shared prosperity and less inequality. They both genuinely want to invest more in infrastructure and clean energy. America, by the way, ranks first or second in the world in all scientific studies in the capacity to generate electricity from the sun and the wind. Never mind hydropower, biomass, geothermal, and all the rest. And all the studies. They both, I believe, genuinely want to see equal pay for women. And it's unconscionable that we're one of only 7 countries that doesn't have paid leave. But for Hillary, this is not only a moral issue, it's an economic issue. Because even though the unemployment rate is low and a lot of jobs are being created, this is a bigger country than it was when I was president. The workforce participation rate is still about 4 points below its historic performance when there are strong efforts. We were always in the top 10 in women in the workforce, even without paid leave. When I left office, we were 7th of all the countries. We're not in the top 20 anymore. We all want tighter bank regulations on people at the top to stop speculation and encourage investment. And Hillary says we've got to include the so-called shadow banking system where people are doing bank-like transactions with no regulations at all. But we need to make it easier to make small business loans and let these young tech entrepreneurs get started without having to give their companies away to somebody in venture capital from the get-go. When I was president, most of our jobs came from smaller businesses. And they need to be able to borrow money. If you wanted to start a business and you wanted a $100,000 loan, in many states, the transaction costs for the bank to process your $100,000 loan are exactly the same as for a $10 million loan. If you were running a bank, what would you do? We need to get back to community banking again, rooted in small business people and entrepreneurs and people starting out. And people who have good credit scores and adequate income being able to buy a house. That's what we need to do. She thinks, in other words, we have to build an economy for the struggling, the striving, and the successful. We got to do this together. Just like Maggie said.